Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Alright, let's pause here and offer some commentary. The first thing I want to point out is where it says, "The earth was void and without form." So to me that means, void means there was nothing there. So what exactly are we referring to when we say earth here? Are we referring to the planet Earth, or are we referring to our universe, our reality itself, meaning Earth, this world, this reality? Or maybe it literally just means land and the Earth was just an ocean. The second thing that I find interesting here is separating light from darkness. So, to me as a pantheist, this means God, the one original consciousness, splitting itself into all the different aspects of our reality. The one original consciousness, which is whole, splitting into light and darkness, good and evil, animate and inanimate. Next, the firmament dividing the waters. What exactly is meant by waters here? Maybe we're not really talking about literal land and water. There's this concept that God is an ocean, and that our own individual existences are just little bubbles that pop up out of this ocean, and we exist in our own little bubble for a while before we descend back and merge back in with the ocean that is everything. So maybe this firmament is our separation from God as humans, and the creation of duality, or our world's, our reality's separation from the one original consciousness which encompasses everything. That there's a firmament that separates that one original consciousness from our reality. Okay, let's get back into the read. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together onto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit yielding tree, fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself, after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Alright, let's unpack. So here God creates dry land and sea. That means that the earth and waters that were mentioned previously were not referring to literal land and sea. To me, that confirms that the mention of earth in the beginning of this chapter was referring to something more nebulous and ethereal than the physical planet. Perhaps the word earth was meant to represent our universe or our reality as a whole. The order of creation is also very interesting here, and dare I say, nonsensical. Plants before the sun, birds before terrestrial animals. How would these plants survive without being able to photosynthesize? It's almost as if this text was written down by desert herders with no knowledge of the modern theory of evolution. However, to me, this still does not completely negate the text either. The writers were simply attempting to explain the world around them the best they could, with the knowledge that they had available to them. And even though they did not have the benefit of standing on the shoulders of giants like we do, it's still possible that they were able to ascertain higher truths about the nature of reality that even to this day lay outside the realm of the scientific method. The details might be wrong, but there is still wisdom to be extracted from the overall message. Another interesting thing to point out is that the sun and the moon were created to divide the light from the darkness. So again, the light and the darkness mentioned earlier seems to be referring to something else. And again, it's my interpretation that light and darkness, talked about in Genesis 1:4, is a metaphor for the one original consciousness splitting into different aspects of the physical universe. Okay, back to the read. And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and all over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw that everything he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So, in Genesis 1:24 and 1:25, we talk more about creatures reproducing and creating more of their kind. This is immediately followed by God making man in his own image. So by creating man, is God reproducing? I'm also incorrect to use he to refer to God here, because the text says, Let us make man in our image. Why the sudden change in pronouns? Are there multiple gods? Is God a they, them? Does God have rainbow-colored hair? I don't know, but the use of our instead of his seems to be very deliberate and is very interesting. So God creates a world full of creatures, and then creates creatures that are more like him than the rest. And these more godlike creatures are given dominion over the world. It brings to mind the idea of God creating avatars for himself to experience the world that he created. Of course, there's no basis for this statement, just a thought. In the next section, Genesis 1:29 and 1:30, we talk about trees bearing meat. I believe meat here is simply used to refer to food. And what is interesting is that all the creatures that exist at this time seem to be able to eat this tree meat. This suggests that all creatures were vegetarians at this time. So, like, God created a world and then decided to set it to peaceful mode, and it was very good. Until it wasn't. But that's for a future video, as we've reached the end of chapter 1. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm especially interested in hearing people's opinions about the use of our instead of him when God created man. And if you made it this far, I'm assuming you enjoyed the video, so if that's the case, please like and subscribe. I'll be posting videos as often as I can. Peace.